Hello, everybody. I'm Nicholas.
And I'm Lindsay Mead.
And you're listening to
Two Bad Pagans.
In today's podcast, we talk about the upcoming holiday of Mabon.
We also discuss the practice of tarot reading as well as pay tribute to the late Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode.
Yay!
We have missed you guys so much.
It's Nick's fault.
It is my fault.
We didn't post last month.
Yes.
And didn't post earlier this month.
Yes. It's totally my fault.
It's totally Nick's fault. I wanted to be the good pagan podcaster.
Yes. We set up 2 separate dates last month to get together and record the podcast. Mm-hmm. And I think we got together another time beyond that. And I was like, I can't talk. We can't record the podcast.
Well, you guys know how men are when they get sick. They turn into massive babies. And he had to milk it for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, I can't deal with your babiness. I'm not coming over.
And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm still coughing all the time, but we just have to record something, or people think we're just gone.
Yeah, we just stopped. We just decided not to do it anymore.
No.
But that's not true.
No.
We love podcasting.
We do.
I love listening to podcasts. And sometimes I'm like, the pagan podcasters that I listen to, they need to podcast more often. I'm like, this once a month thing is killing me.
Yeah.
And I get it. Because it's really hard to come up with topics.
Yeah.
I mean, we have one show a month, and it's like, what are we going to talk about? We're like scrounging for things to fill this hour. So I get it.
I get it,
but
too.
I'm like, ugh.
I want to hear more.
Yeah.
I just want more, please. Please, sir.
Random references.
Hey. That's what I'm here for.
So, so Nick's been sick.
I've been, and what's irritating, it's just been like this sinus crap that won't go away. It's not like I feel terrible, I just don't feel great. And I'm coughing all the time, which means it's kind of hard to record a podcast, because if I talk for too long, I'm like, and then I just start coughing.
Yeah, he's just being a baby.
Oh, shut up.
You know what my dad does? Funny little story here. Okay, my dad and I experienced some allergies this summer. I don't know what it was exactly, but we both would get these really nasty coughs, and they were really gross type coughs. Like you'd think we were going to lose a lung or suffocate while coughing. It was horrible. And it would come out of nowhere, and then it would just kind of go away. Yeah. And my dad is such a baby. He would tell me every single day, like almost the exact same story. He would say, I was getting better, and I'm drinking this tea and taking this medicine and all this stuff, and I'm starting to feel better. Yeah. But then I go for a walk up to get to the mail, and then all of a sudden, I can't breathe, and my chest gets real tight, and I have a hard time, and it just really takes it out of me. And he just, as he's telling this story, he gradually turns into a very old man. Like he starts to like slump over, and he keeps tapping his chest, and his voice gets more and more raspy, and I'm like, what do you want from me here? Yeah. Oh, you poor old man. Why don't I'll get you a blanket, make you feel better. Yeah. No, I have no maternal instincts. I want to be like, get up.
Get your stuff together. Oh my God.
So you kind of reminded me of that just now.
A little bit. That's pretty much how the past couple of days have gone.
So aside from that, anything interesting going on in your life?
Yeah. I have started vlogging. I think I mentioned it on the last show that we did, and that's how long it's been. I've been vlogging for quite a while now.
I don't know if you talked about it in the last video.
I think
No, vlog. No. Podcast. Oh.
We're getting our mediums so confused today, and you were making fun of me before we started recording.
That's because you were just far all over yourself.
That's true.
I wasn't even like interacting with you. I was just observing you, trying to say hello, and you were like a puddle on the floor by the time you were done.
Pretty much. It was one of those, okay, we just gotta stop and start over again. This isn't going anywhere. Anyway.
So he's vlogging now.
I've been vlogging. That's been exciting and different. There are links to it on our blog and whatever, and I'll talk about that at the end of the show.
For those of you who don't know, a vlogger is someone who films their daily life and then puts it on YouTube. And it doesn't have to be daily, but they film their everyday life, is what I should say. And then they put it on YouTube. And in your case, you put up 2 videos a week.
Yes.
Doing that. And you just, this is what's going on today, and this is what I'm doing now. And you just, it's a video diary, is basically what it is.
Pretty much.
And I do one too, that's daily though.
Yes.
So, and we appear in each other's vlogs quite a bit, which is cool.
It is cool. And it's fun, and it's different, seeing each other show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun. Besides that, I've been really getting into essential oils and like home remedies and things, and that's been really fun.
It makes me very happy to see you heading in that direction.
Yeah?
Yes.
I'm glad. It's exciting and different for me. I've been really getting into coconut oil and discovering its magical wonderfulness.
And what's funny is, like, when I first met Nick, it seemed like I would start talking about herbs and essential oils and things like that. And that was cookies.
Yeah.
We're baking cookies.
Because that's the kind of people we are. We're podcasting with cookies.
Yeah. We're baking in the studio.
Yes.
Our studio is just full-fledged with a kitchen and everything.
I know. We're fancy.
What was I saying? What was I talking about? Oh, right. When I first met you, yeah, I would talk about using herbs because I have a decent herb collection and a pretty good-sized essential oil collection, and I use them for spells and candles and various little bits. And I'd start talking to Nick about them, and he would just kind of give me this blank look. Like, he had candles. Candles was his thing, and he didn't touch any of that other stuff.
Pretty much.
Which was so weird to me because it seemed like every other pagan, witchy pagan that I had met, they wanted everything. They wanted to do a little bit of everything. And then you were like, no, mine is candles.
Candles and incense.
Yeah, like that was your thing. So it's very cool, which is fine if that's your thing. That's totally fine. And I'm like, okay, that's different. All right.
Whatever.
That it's been cool watching you kind of expand a little bit and finding new things to work into your everyday life and your magical life, and it's kind of fun. And I'm doing the same thing because you got me really into incense, and I hated incense before.
Yeah, which is exciting. That you like it now, not that you hated it before.
Right.
I've always wanted to make my own incense, which is really what kind of got me onto the essential oil bandwagon.
Yeah.
Because I picked up a book by Scott Cunningham. I know, another Scott Cunningham book, but he has a book
Everybody
called...
reads Scott Cunningham. Yeah. He's
stable.
It. Yeah.
Anyway, so... It's called, like, The Complete Book to Incense Oils and Brews or something like that. And it gives recipes for how to make incenses and oils and, like, oil mixtures and stuff. And so that got me really intrigued. And then I got some beard oil, and I was like, I could just make this myself. And so a coworker of ours was like, oh, I made some for my husband, and he never uses it. Give it a try and see if you like it. And so I smelled it, and I was like, this smells fantastic. And she's like, it's really easy to make. You just put this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I could do that. And so I tried it, and I was like, this feels amazing in my beard. So then I was like, I just need to get into this. And that's what I've been doing.
Good.
I know.
That's really good.
Yeah. I even made some coffee-infused coconut oil that I've been using for moisturizing on my skin.
And how do you like that?
I like it a lot. I've been using it some to rub my feet with a different essential oil blend with the coffee to, smooth out my feet because I walk all the time, so they kind of get a little rough and callous. So it's been nice to, be like, hey, have some healing and love and all that stuff. It's been fun.
Good.
Yeah.
I have been doing something very similar, and I don't know if it's because we watch each other's vlogs, so we're being influenced by each other, but it seemed like we both started moving into a more of a holistic, natural way of living at the exact same time.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that scared me.
Hello, neighbors of the studio.
Something is coming in through the roof. No, yeah. So, anyway, and it started with, like, coconut oil. That's been a big staple for both of us right now. I started putting it in my hair. You told me it could be used as a makeup remover, and that's like, oh my god, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
I can see why when you bring it up in salons and stuff, they all get all like, oh, that's terrible stuff. Because it's not.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
You will never, if you have makeup on your face and you want to take it off, like specifically eye makeup.
Which is notorious for staying on.
Yeah, you use that coconut oil, just a little bit on your finger, slather it on your eye, it wipes right off. Easy peasy, and it moisturizes your eye at the same time. And coconut oil, for food, it's kind of expensive because you use so much of it. But then using it in that scenario, it'll last you forever. It's not going to cost very much. It's way cheaper than buying eye makeup remover.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have curly and frizzy hair, so I've been using it in that, and that's been making a big difference with my own hair. It takes some practice because you can use way too much and get really oily, but, you know, you figure it out.
Yeah, like everything with life.
And I've been doing a lot of research on shampoos.
Yes.
Making my own homemade shampoos. And so that's going to be a thing. And I've been trying to make more of my own food, organic, and home making things, and getting you to make things for me that I don't want to make, like bread.
Yeah. It needs attention.
Yeah. So it's just like a gradual shift, I think, in trying to find ways to be healthier.
Yes.
And then have a smaller impact on the earth as well.
Oh, definitely. I agree. It's been cool.
It has been cool. And I don't know about you, but I feel better.
Yeah.
Like you just have this, I don't know, it's almost like ego. Maybe it's ego. Maybe it's just a feeling more of a connection just to the earth.
Possibly.
But you feel better about using something that's organic, or taking 3 ingredients, putting them together, and then you have a shampoo, or you have a moisturizer or something like that, rather than going to the store, buying something in plastic, spending good money on it, and then it lasts you for a short while and probably doesn't do exactly what you want it to do.
Yes.
So I just feel better about it, and I feel good when I see things like stacks of mason jars in my kitchen filled with various ingredients, and I've been feeling good. We have an orchard at my house and a small garden, and we've been getting so many freaking cucumbers.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I asked my dad, I'm like, can you grow some pumpkins? I like just seeing pumpkins.
Yes.
I may never eat the pumpkin, but I like to see the pumpkin. And I'm like, can you grow this and this and this? He grew none of it. He only grew cucumbers.
Oh my god.
Which is funny because I don't really eat cucumbers. They're okay. They're just very overpowering.
They are, yes.
So we have so many cucumbers, and he's like pawning them off on my grandmother and my brother, and I've taken like 2 bushels into work. It's true. 2 bushels into work, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going over to Nick. I gotta do the podcast, and Dad's like, here, cucumbers, give them to Nick.
Thanks.
So, and it's like, you become more self-sufficient, and I keep using this phrase, even though I think it's from the Bible, but my cuppeth runneth over, type thing, because that's really what comes to mind. Like, you grow something in the earth organically on your own, and you just have this big bounty. And I'm like, how did anybody ever starve?
Yeah.
You're like, you can't give it away. You have so much of it. So, and like, I'm trying to figure out ways, like I'm looking up how to make my own pickles so that I can I don't even like pickles. But I'm like, I'm going to can a bunch of these cucumbers, turn them into pickles, and give them to people.
Get them out of here.
Yes. So it's just a more natural way of living, and it just makes me feel good, and makes the rest of my family feel really good, and we're making a smaller impact on Earth. And then, should things ever go badly in our society, we are still self-sustaining. We will be fine.
Yeah.
Which is a big comfort, I know, for my dad. He wants to take care of the family and all that stuff. So
yeah.
He's like, when zombies show up, we got this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I've been doing a lot of smoothies recently. And I always feel so much better when I can start my day off with a smoothie.
Which is funny, because I started doing that smoothie thing myself back when I started the vlog, and I did it all the time. And then it's like, when you started doing it, I quit doing it.
Yeah.
It just stops.
I know. I feel like...
In that scenario, we were not in alignment. We totally traded off and went in opposite directions.
Yeah. I started, and you just... Nope.
Yep.
No more smoothie for you.
I like the smoothies. I like them a lot. And I wanted to kind of expand what I put in my smoothies. Like, I just mostly put fruits and vegetables and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been, like, looking into, like, putting honey in there and various little bits that you don't necessarily taste in a smoothie, but are really, really good for you.
Yeah.
But it's just really, for me, it's really difficult because I do live with my dad right now, and he's such a whiner. Whenever I go to make a smoothie, and it's so loud, and he just complains about it. So I can't make them at night because he's watching the news and he complains about it. So, and then also, this is a little bit TMI, but when I drink a smoothie, I have to pee like every half hour for like the first several hours of the day, which is fine if I don't have to go to work. I don't mind getting up and running to the bathroom every half an hour.
Yeah.
But when I have to go to work, that's not fun at all. No one wants to do that at work.
No.
Public bathrooms and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Plus, it kickstarts your metabolism, so then I'm hungrier throughout the day.
Oh, yeah.
When you're trying to be healthy and trying to diet, that's not really all that helpful.
Mm-mm.
And the smoothie, no matter how healthy it is, it's like 400 calories.
Yeah.
So, and my diet's very much based on a calorie count.
Yeah.
So, like that's a brownie I can't have now. You know?
I'd much rather have the smoothie than a brownie, but I'm not much of a chocolate person. So.
Oh well, I am female. I love me some chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Just not as much, apparently.
So can I ask you something about the cookies here? They beeped a while ago. Do they need to be taken out? Are they burning right now, or?
They're not in the oven yet.
Oh.
The oven's preheated.
So it's saying it's preheated and you just haven't put the cookies in there?
Pretty much.
Maybe you should do that.
Okay. And we're back!
We're back. Cookies are done.
Cookies are done.
Yeah, they went into the oven and then we decided to wait and take them out before we continued. So
we didn't keep having awkward
So we managed to
pauses.
make cookies in like 2 minutes flat.
seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
During that commercial break, it was like, bam!
Bam!
Cookies done. And they are fantastic cookies.
So delicious.
We got like nice little plates. He turned like into grandma and put 3 on a nice little plate for me. And
I don't have any ice cream.
no, grandma wouldn't give ice cream.
I think so.
No.
There'd be a nice big dollop of...
Only if it was homemade ice cream.
Sure. I could do that.
Oh boy. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Mabon because Mabon is coming up here really soon.
It
But
is.
I just want to point out that we went to the store and we bought some pumpkins for the table.
Yes.
Because we are so excited for fall and Halloween. And they're just decorative, tiny miniature pumpkins. Get 2 for $1. And they're sitting on our table right now as we do this podcast.
Yes.
And I just want to put that atmosphere out there. We have cookies and we have pumpkins.
I have some tea. It's pretty fantastic. Like last episode, we had some incense burning. You know, we're just giving you atmospheric studio vibes for you all at home.
Yuppers.
So you can appreciate all that we have.
Well, I'm just saying that we're ready to skip right into October.
Oh yeah, I really need to get my Halloween decorations out because I'm excited for that.
I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I don't think we were friends then. It was like one of the first years I had because I had a car then. One of the first years I had my apartment, I went to the craft store and I got this black, it's kind of like a roll of construction paper, and I cut out this witch and little cats and I put them on my sliding door so that whenever I lit it up you could see like this outline of this classic witch character. And I was like, tee, there actually is a witch here. It was so much fun, but it looked badass. But I put it out like mid-August.
Oh wow! You really jumped the gun.
I was so excited. Must have been later than that though. Must have been early September because it was whenever the Martha Stewart Halloween magazine came out, because that always gets me in the mood to decorate for fall.
Yeah, that sounds like that'd be September. I don't know. It seems like they started sending out Halloween magazines super early this year.
They did.
So
Right.
it could have been near the end of August.
Could be. I don't know. Anyways, it was fun.
Yeah.
I liked it.
But before we get to that, we have to do Mabon first.
We do.
So, do you wanna share what you know about Mabon with
Sure.
with the present company?
Sure.
Okay.
If you're in the Northern Hemisphere with us, you are celebrating Mabon on September 21st. It is the second of the Harvest Festivals. I'm going to read a little bit from Scott Cunningham's Book of Shadows. So you guys have a little bit of information. It is the autumn equinox. The completion of the harvest began at Lunasta. Once again, day and night are equal, poised as the god prepares to leave his physical body and begin the great adventure into the unseen toward renewal and rebirth of the goddess. Nature declines, draws back its bounty, readying for winter and its time of rest. The goddess nods in the weakening sun, though fire burns within her womb. She feels the presence of the god even as he wanes.
Nice.
I know. I love our traditions and our
Mythology?
yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of beautiful.
I really enjoy the mythology part of it. And I like that it's simple.
Yes.
A lot of mythologies out there are super complicated, and I like that it just basically it keeps it as simple as the god and goddess. It's just pretty basic. I mean, you could always get really into all the other gods and goddesses, which is totally fine. They've got really complicated histories and stories, but I like that for the most part it's simple.
Yeah. Oftentimes, Mabon is considered to be like a Thanksgiving holiday. Again, being thankful. I mean, the first one was this. A lot of your harvest holidays are just very thankful for what you have. A lot of having breaking of breads and eating apples and having ciders and pies and a lot of crops, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Traditionally it was a harvest festival. We're thankful for what we've got. We're gonna take some time to be thankful for the earth for everything it's given us. And I love that. I think it's really cool. So I think, I'm excited.
Yeah, and the more we get into being more self-sufficient and start growing our own foods and things like that, these holidays I think will mean more to us. And I know that I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but I mean we already grow stuff at my house, and we're planning to expand that garden even further. So yeah, it'll make a big difference. And I think you said in your reading just now, did it say that Lunasa was the end of the harvest?
No, Mabon is the completion of the harvest that began with Lunasta.
Okay, I heard that kind of backwards. Because I was like, but we're still getting a ton of cucumbers.
Yeah. Lots and lots of cucumbers.
So I think it will line up pretty good then.
Yeah.
That we should stop harvesting near the end of this month. Cool.
It'll be exciting. And I think the Samhain is the final harvest festival of completion of the death and finality,
Yeah.
So, I'm excited.
If we keep getting cucumbers, maybe I'll have to take some of them and put them on the altar as a sacrifice or something.
Sacrifice. Yes.
Well, not quite so ritualistic, where, I'm cutting them up and, well, maybe I will. You could. Yes.
As an offering?
Yeah. Right. Either way, it's kind of the same. Just one word is prettier than the other.
Yeah.
I'm sacrificing of myself to give back to deity.
Yeah. I like it.
That might be kind of cool. I still need to do that banishing spell I've talked about a gazillion times in this podcast. In the last one, I said that I set it all up, and hoping that I would see it and I would make me think about it, and therefore I would do it. And that is true, except the last part. I see it and I think about it, and I haven't done it.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
It is terrible. And now I think it's got a couple of glasses of water sitting on it. So.
Yeah, I had planned to do stuff for the last holiday, but I think I was going to make bread, and then for some reason work was really exhausting that weekend, and I did not end up making bread until a couple days later.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm a bad pagan.
I'm worse. I'm so terrible.
But you actually, like, for that holiday, you burnt incense and you prayed a bit.
Did I?
You did.
I don't remember. After like a week, I pretty much forget everything. That's why doing a daily vlog is good. Someday, like, I won't remember anything that happened at all in my life, and I'll be able to go back and remember.
Yeah. I know. Did my sister get... Oh, yeah, she did get married. I'll watch the wedding video.
Yep, she did. What's that guy she married again?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And I was in the wedding. Yeah.
And there was this guy that was standing in front of the camera. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good stuff.
Good.
So, yeah. I definitely think I need to be better about being a better pagan. We could all say that. But, I don't know. I need to do that dang spell already. Just do it, Lindsay. Just do it.
Just do it.
And I've been getting, like, this is slightly off topic. I think I've mentioned it before, though, so you guys know what I'm talking about. That some of the signs that I look for is when I see repeating numbers.
Yeah.
That's a sign to me that the angels or the divine, the god and goddess, what have you, are trying to connect with me and they have a message for me. And I have been seeing those numbers constantly. Like, this morning, I turned my computer on. I didn't even climb out of bed. I turned my computer on, and it needed to restart again, and put in some updates for some stupid reason. And I'm waiting, and it's taken forever. And then it finishes, and it goes to the save screen when it's got the big clock on it, and it was like 111. Because yes, I do get up that late. I stay up very late, so I sleep very late.
Me too.
Okay. But yeah, so it said 111, and it's just like that is just a repeating numbers like that have been appearing to me a lot lately. So I'm like, I think I need to do a tarot reading or something. But after I do the banishing spell.
Yes.
Because I have a good habit of saying, oh, I'll light some incense and some candles, and I'll meditate, and I'll do a tarot reading, but I'll do nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, the tarot reading is the easy part. It's the really fun part where you get to, like, someone gets to talk about you. And, you know, cards. It's cool. It's fun. And whereas the banishing thing, that's a lot. It's good. It's just it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So you end up procrastinating or being lazy and, like, do I really want to sit and, like, memorize these words before I do it? Do I want to, you know, it's just being a big baby, essentially. Like, I need to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And that would reflect on most aspects of my life, actually.
Yeah.
Just need to stop playing video games and write the next book already.
Right. What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
My book's totally finished.
Yeah. That's true. Are you going to have your book done by NaNoWriMo?
I'm planning on it.
For those of you who don't know, NaNoWriMo's National Novel Writing Month.
I think we talked about it.
Oh, we used to talk about it a lot in vlog, actually.
Yeah.
Or in the podcast.
Yeah. In the early episodes of the podcast.
We did. And then we're like, we need to not talk about writing quite so much, because this is a pagan podcast, not a writing podcast. We kind of cut back on it a little bit.
We did.
And I'm okay with that decision. I think that was the right decision.
I think so. I mean, it's important to talk about it a little bit, because it's, you know...
Part of our lives, yeah.
At any rate, yes, my plan is to get the book done by
NaNoWriMo.
By November.
Which November? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I can do it.
You can do it. We can both do it. I can finish the sequel by then, and you can finish that book by then. And then we'll have to pick a new book.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what book I'm going to write. That's what I'm ruminating on at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to write about?
You'll come up with something.
I know. I'm excited.
So, do you have any plans for Mabon specifically?
I hadn't even thought about it. I've been doing the research on the
yeah, you did all the work
quote
for this.
research for me, and I haven't even thought about it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Do you think harvesty stuff like Thanksgiving stuff? When is Thanksgiving? That's in November, isn't it?
The end of November. So it was actually early harvest. I read about it in the history of Mabon. It was actually harvest time, and then I think it was Lincoln pushed it back into November, and then Roosevelt during the Depression moved it further back into November to promote holiday sales, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, but it used to be around
promote holiday sales.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I know, right?
I learned a little fun tidbit about Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is Oktoberfest celebrated in September?
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was a celebration for some king getting married or some royal person getting married. So they had this big celebration, and it spread out into the city, and it lasted a really long time, and everybody got really drunk and had a really great time, and it was so much fun that the next year came around, and they decided we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And it ended up becoming an annual thing. Every October, they would just get shit-faced for a month. But then apparently the weather's not so great in that part of the world in October, so they moved it to September, and that's why September is Oktoberfest.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't really even know anything about Oktoberfest, but apparently that's when you drink a lot. And it was thanks to some lord's wedding.
Sometime. long, long ago in a country far, far away.
Yes.
I just found the piece of the website that was talking about it. It said, originally the American Thanksgiving was celebrated on October 3rd, which makes a lot more sense agriculturally. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued his Thanksgiving Proclamation, which changed the date to the last Thursday in November. In 1939, Franklin Delano Roosevelt adjusted it yet again, making the second to last Thursday, in the hopes of boosting post-Depression holiday sales. Unfortunately, all this did was confuse people. 2 years later, Congress finalized it, saying the fourth Thursday of November would be Thanksgiving every year. So yes, it used to be a lot closer to when Mabon is. But no longer.
So you could do like 3 months of harvest-themed altars. If you
Pretty
wanna
much.
do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I haven't really gotten very... Well, I mean, if I were a better pagan, I would have. But I have never been very big on theming up my altar. I know a lot of witches are, though. I see it all the time, and I'm always so jealous of them.
Yeah.
But I need to be... I need to be better in that regard anyway.
Me too.
So, this is going to be my homework for me. And anybody else can participate if they want.
Sure.
So, my altar's already set up, but I might add to it to fit Mabon. But... even if I don't, I'm going to try. My homework is to do this darn spell. Get it done with. Maybe do whatever Mabon thing I was going to add to it. And then set up my altar for Samhain.
Okay.
That's my homework, is to do this altar and then set up one for the next holiday.
Sounds good.
I'm like determined. I think Nick can see the determination.
I can.
I'm like, I am going to do this.
Yes.
I'm not going to slack off and then all of a sudden be like, oh, Samhain's here. I watched a lot of horror movies, but I haven't done anything religiously. Yeah. No, I'm going to, even if I don't do an actual ritual, I'm going to set up that darn altar. And it will be pretty.
It will be. I'm a little intimidated now.
Because you're going to feel like you didn't do anything because you didn't set up an altar?
Pretty much.
I'll shame you.
I'm a bad pig and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed.
Okay, so do you want to go on to listener mail or do you have something else to add?
Well, I think, I don't know. I'll see what I'm planning for Mabon. I don't know. I kind of just want to light some candles and this is what I do for every holiday. I light some candles.
I try not to laugh.
Burn some incense. Break some bread and think about life, since I did not do that for the first.
There you go. At least you're making bread. That's still more than what I've done.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. It's very exciting. On to listener mail. We have another message from Danny. He actually did some homework from last month. And he said that he and his wife...
so he remembers what the homework was.
Yes.
Nick had that in the show notes. Talk about the homework from the previous month. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're just going to delete this because I don't even remember what the homework was.
We were just going to talk about what we did for last holiday. That's what the homework was.
Oh.
Anyway. He said they're in the process of moving. There's lots of stress. For Lamas, they they had a small ritual to keep their minds and bodies sharp, and they did a smudging of their house to give guests and potential buyers welcoming vibration.
Nice.
And they did some baking of bread and left it on their outdoor altar. I'm so envious.
Right? I know. I was just thinking, wow, these are really good pagans. Wow. He says, we tried to tie in the grain harvest by baking some bread and left it on the outdoor altar, and then left a bit out for our neighborhood animals to enjoy. Now we are ready to get this house move over with. Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know.
Like, oh, I need to step up my game.
Right? That's totally the right reason to do it.
I thrive on competition.
Me too. Not gonna lie. Alright, and then they suggest a new topic. He suggests a new topic. He says he's never really gotten into the tarot. So when you were talking about the tarot earlier, I was like, we can tie this into listener mail. He says that he knows people get fully invested in it. Well, he's not too into tarot. He's open to learning. And he says he may find a deck one day, which is a challenge. And he talks about how he likes buying his witchy things from antique stores and thrift shops, things that have personality, history, and a story. I'm very much the same way. Mm-hmm. He says new items for the internet or pagan shops are missing this quality, so I haven't really found a tarot deck that I've felt any connection to. I know you guys, I'm quoting him, I know you guys have talked a little about this in the past, but my question to you is, first, are you practicing tarot? If so, what piqued your interest and how did you get started? If you're not practicing or even interested, I'd like to hear about that as well. Then he says, thank you guys, Danny. And he also thanks us for taking the time to go over the email on the last show. And you're welcome.
Keep sending them.
Keep sending them. We love listener mail.
Yeah, it makes finding topics easier.
It does.
So, shall I go first?
Sure.
So, obviously, I am into tarot.
Sorry. Excuse me, guys. I'm trying to keep it together. Yes, obviously you're into tarot.
Yes, but I feel like there's like some stipulations or like a little asterisk needs to be made. Because I don't do traditional tarot Rider-Waite, which is like what you see like a lot of times on TV and stuff, you know, where it's like the 7 swords and the cups and the whatever.
Yeah.
And it's never worked for me. It's never called to me, and I have one of those. It just doesn't work for me. I am more into oracle decks, which is they're more image oriented. So like, for example, I have like a goddess deck that's like my main one that I use mostly, and each one features a different goddess, and then if you draw that goddess, you're supposed to study the image, see if anything speaks to you, and then you look at the part in the book about the goddess, and then read about the goddess as well as what she is trying to convey to you. Yeah. And you can do a really complicated setup, you know, where like you make how do I describe this? You know, like you put one sideways and you put one just to the right of that, and that means this. And, but that always confuses me. And it just makes it more, my brain cannot form the connection. And like for me, every time I do a reading, each card means its own thing, but then ultimately I always see a grand design. Like, this is the overall message that I'm getting from these 5 cards. Yeah. So, and the more complicated the setup, the harder it is for me to see that. Yeah. So I will keep it simple, and I'll just lay a card down. And like the first card is my present or my past. The second card, like my recent past. The second card is my present, then my near future, and then my future after that. And I'll keep drawing it. I just put them in a basic line, and I'll just keep doing that until I feel like I'm done. Yeah. And then when I feel like I'm done, I'm done. Yeah. And that's my experience with tarot, and I have a lot of decks. But like I said, I mean, I buy them because I think, oh, this one's really pretty, or this one's really cool. And there was a while there when I first started where I bought a ton of them just because I'm like that was my introduction to witchcraft, and I'm like, I just want to just buy stuff because that's how I'm a pagan. I buy stuff. Yeah. So, and those were pretty, so I bought lots of them, and they're affordable. Yeah. But there's only really 2 that I use, but the main one I use is the goddess deck, which is actually the first deck I ever bought. Yeah. So, and it just works for me, and I like it a lot.
Don't you also use an angel deck?
I have an angel deck. I don't use it that often, though. I think because of the goddess one kind of took over. But the first reading I ever did was on an angel deck. And they're Doreen Virtue. I like Doreen Virtue a lot. She makes very attractive decks, and they always work for me really well. And the first one I ever used was an angel deck, and it was from a friend of mine who was introducing me to witchcraft before I even knew that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
I think you've talked about it on previous episodes.
oh, probably, yeah. So that was my first experience with it, and that was a pretty profound experience. And then I kind of went on from there, and it was a while before I actually found the angel deck from them, but by the time I got the angel deck, I was pretty well established in the goddess deck. So,
yeah.
But if we're just talking divination, I've always wanted to expand into ruins. I have these ruins that I actually bought from Barnes and Noble that they're like round on one side and flat on the other, and they already have the symbols painted in them. And though I made my own ones and they didn't work for crap, I had a hard time understanding them and reading them. Whereas these, I think because of the way they're shaped, like you have a distinct impression of what's facing up and what's facing down. There's no question. And I've used those a couple of times, and those are okay for me.
Yeah.
And I would love to try doing like a pendulum. Like, this is going to sound so terrible, but okay, I love horse racing, and I bet on the big races every single year. And I've always thought it would be so much fun to get the horses like 2 days before or the day before the race, get a list of the horses, maybe their pictures, and hold a pendulum over it till one says this is going to be the winner.
Yeah.
You know, actually try and set up first, second, and third place.
Yeah.
And then place mine accordingly and see how that works out. I've always wanted to try that.
Part of me is like the terrible Charmed cliche of like, you can't use magic for your own benefit.
Well, then what am I going to use it for?
That was what I always said. I mean, we're not protecting the innocent here.
Well, no, we're not. And there's such a taboo against casting spells and rituals on people without their permission.
Yeah.
If you accept money for helping someone, that's a big taboo. So if I'm not going to do something for myself, I'm kind of running out of stuff here.
I know. That's what I said. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could be all monk-like about it and only do rituals for nature and the god and goddess. And I guess if you're a really good person, you could do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not that good.
Honesty there. I'm not either.
This witch likes to have a little fun now and then.
Yeah. Me too.
I don't think I'm the only one, and if it feels that way. I've listened to other podcasts. And they're pretty well open about it, and like, I'll curse you if you hurt my family, and that's a big taboo as well. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying let's all go to the dark side, but
whatever.
But having a little bit of darkness in your practice, I think, is okay.
They have cookies, I hear.
They have cookies, I hear.
Did you ever see that poster?
I have, yes. They have cookies. Yeah.
Okay. For me, I have done tarot for several years. I know before I've talked about a friend who gave me a lot of his witchcraft supplies, and among them he gave me a tarot deck that I've talked about on the show before. When my apartment burned down, it was like scattered all over the floor of my apartment, but it was all there and none of the cards were hurt. And
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so I have like a association with this deck, and I don't know. I really like using it. It's the classic Raider White sort of deck, but the art is really obscure and strange. I think it's called the Aquarian Tarot. I forget what it's called. It used to be out of print, and I think maybe it's back in print again. But that one I love for the same reason that Danny hasn't found a deck, because it has so much character, because it was originally purchased like in the 80s. And so there's a distinct feel to them and a distinct like wear of the cards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just has its own energy. Where I have two other decks, and neither of them has quite the same interaction. The same interaction with me. So, I appreciate them.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, I think if you're really interested in tarot, then you just need to go somewhere where they have them. And you don't have to go to a pagan shop. I mean, we sell them at Barnes & Noble. Yeah. Quite a few, actually. So, I mean, you could just go through and just look at them and pick them up and feel them. And it's like with all things in witchcraft and paganism, whatever. It's all about intuition and feeling. And if it feels right, go with it. If it doesn't, then don't. And maybe tarot is not for you. There's a lot of other different divination options that are out there.
Yeah.
You could even get a Ouija board. Or a spirit board, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Those are back in.
They are. I don't know. It'd be difficult to find one that looks with character, that feels antique and looks antique and all that.
The Ouija board?
No, the tarot deck.
Oh.
I've seen them out there, but they still have that crispness from the store.
Right.
I think you'd either have to know someone who's getting...
You could make your own.
You could.
You could probably buy some handmade on Etsy, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah, probably.
What if that's really important to you?
Yeah, or you might be able to find some online somewhere, a used deck. I would make sure to cleanse it of any energy that it carries before you use it, but, you might be able to find it that way. But, I don't know.
There's a deck at work I've wanted to tell you about it for a while that I think it's a mermaid deck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a Rider-Waite style deck.
Yeah.
And I cannot let it go.
Yeah.
Like, I'll, stop and look at it and pick it up, and I really want it. And I'm like, I don't even know if I would even like it, but it's so attractive to me. Mm-hmm. The artwork is just so beautiful, and it's got, this kind of vintage mermaid painting kind of feel to it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I should get this.
Yes.
But I'm like, I'll probably never use it.
Because that's not the style of tarot.
It's not, but I just like it a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up getting it. And then I'll just add it to my collection.
Yeah. I wish I had more tarot decks. I rarely ever see one that I want to add to my collection. Because for me, it's a lot about the visual appeal of the cards.
Yeah.
And I just don't often see one. I have recently, though, started going through because with the classic Rider-Waite tarot, you kind of have to go through and learn what each card means, or are okay with looking it up every time. I think you can get a better connection with the cards if you know what they all mean. So I've been going through every card and figuring out the meaning of it, and meditating on the card and taking a day or two to think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been helping my readings.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I would always, often after I do the reading, I would write it down, and then kind of what you were just saying, just, kind of meditate on it. Mm-hmm. Over time. And then you never know, you might look back on it a week later and be like, oh, I get it. Yeah. I get this part now.
What was it? One of the last couple of readings you did, a month later, something happened and you were like, oh, this is what it was trying to tell me.
Well, the one I'm thinking of that you might be thinking of is I did this reading because I was going to take a trip up north. And it was my first solo trip to anywhere different. Mm-hmm. And I was going to drive by myself, and it was scary. And I did a reading for it, and one of the cards, I think it was the last card I drew, it talked about not going too fast. Take your time. Yeah. Don't take too big of a leap or something like that. Yeah. Start small.
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought that was referring to something different. I thought that was referring towards more of my life goal. Mm-hmm. That don't run off and quit my job too soon. Mm-hmm. But then I actually went on the trip, and the trip didn't go as planned. It was beautiful and it was wonderful, but it ended up being a one night. I drove 6 hours up north, slept in a hotel, and then I drove home.
Yeah.
So, and that was it. And the reason for that is because I brought my dog with me, and then it occurred to me that was a bad decision because she just does not travel well. She was very unhappy, so I came home. It was still a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
But I realized that that's what that card was talking about, because originally it was supposed to have been a week-long vacation, and then it was moved down to 3 days.
Yes.
And then it ended up actually being just 2 days. So I think that's what that card was referring to. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But I'll take certain cards out sometimes, and I'll hold on to them and just keep them with me. Mm-hmm. In that scenario, there was the one card that actually was, I can't remember who the goddess was, but she was a Hawaiian goddess. Yeah. And she talked all about travel. She was the first card I drew, and she's like, go for it. Do it. This is your life telling you to take the next step in who you're going to be. And so I kept that card out for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. And I just kept it up, propped against the window so I could actually see it. And, and it gave me warm fuzzies. And then I'm like, well, I don't want it to get ruined, so I put it back eventually. But yeah. I get that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Woohoo. So did you want to talk about the terrible thing that happened this month?
Yeah. So and this is a weird transition, but we're nearing the end of the podcast. And there was something I want to talk about. As soon as it happened, I told Nick, I'm like, I want to talk about this. Or at least I told somebody. I thought I told Nick, but apparently I didn't. I told somebody, I want to talk about this in the podcast. Basically, you guys may be familiar with it. Dr. Wayne Dyer, he passed away. He had a heart attack. That was earlier this month, I do believe. It wasn't that long ago. It was very recent. And basically, he was a big mentor of mine. I've read many of his books. I've seen many of his seminars. He was always been a very constant influence in my life. And he has helped me to figure out what I want to do with my life and then gear my mental vibrations towards more positive things. And I think I'm still in the process of figuring that out, but he's just a massive influence in my life. I mean, at the end of my vlog every single day, I say, stay positive and seek happiness. And I think that's because of him putting that influence in my life to change your thoughts and therefore change your life. And so when he passed away, it came as a very big shock to me. And it was very sad.
Yes.
And I think it affected a lot of people. So I wanted to take some time today to just pay tribute to him and what kind of a great person that he was. And he was, if you don't know who he was, he was religious, he was spiritual, but he wasn't religious per se. He was not Christian, but he wasn't Buddhist, he wasn't anything. A lot of his teachings, he talks about things in the Bible, but he also talks about things in, like he did a whole book dedicated to the Tao Te Ching, and learning from that and learning to live with the lessons that are taught there. And even when you read that book, he talks about things that are mentioned in the Bible and other religions and stuff. So he was not a singular religious person.
No.
He talked about the universe and the divine being, and he was very broad and welcoming of all people.
Yes.
Which is why I like him a lot. And I think he was, and it's okay to talk about him here, because he isn't just a religiously centric type of person. So I have a little clip. And it's from his seminar on the Tao Te Ching, and it's not very long, just like 4 minutes, something like that. So it's just a nice thing, I think, that kind of encompasses what he was about, and it's a nice message, and I wanted to play that now for you guys to hear, and just some time to think on him and send good, loving thoughts to him and his family, and we'll be back after that.
All right.
I'd like to just, for a few moments, speak about one more thought. I'd like to see you work at changing. To change the thought from notice me, to what Lao Tzu calls living in obscurity, becoming more obscure. We live in a celebrity-obsessed world, don't we? Look at me. Notice me. The Tao teaches something completely the opposite. Listen to the 66th verse of the Tao. Water again. The sea stays low. And because the sea stays low, all of the rivers and all of the streams empty into it. Because it stays humble. Because it stays in that place of just allowing everything to come to you. He was trying to teach us the important lesson of letting what we know is coming come to us. I practice this so much more now in my life than I did at one time. I can remember years ago, I had written a book called Your Erroneous Zones back in the 70s, and it stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for something like 27 months. And many weeks it would be number 1, and then it would go down to number 3, and then it would go to number 2, and down to 7, and all of that. And I was doing The Tonight Show in those days, and on a regular basis, and so many of the other shows, the Merv Griffin and Phil Donahue and Dinah Shore. I became like a regular on the Dinah Shore. I was like, hobnobbing with Burt Lancaster folks, and what you do is you call and find out where you appear on the bestseller list for the following week on Wednesday. So So you call up on Wednesday, not for the Sunday coming up, but for the following week. And I called home, and my ego was pretty strong, and I was very much into a lot of notice me. I really believe that true nobility is not about being better than anyone else now. It's about being better than you used to be. And I think I'm better than I used to be. And just about, I mean, I know that I'm better than I used to be in every quality or every characteristic that I hold to be valuable. But in those days, I was into notice me. And I called home, and I had trained my wife to call the New York Times. She had this special number that she could call, and with a certain code, and she could find out where I was going to appear on the bestseller list the following week. So I called her up and I said, where am I on the bestseller list next week? You know, I was out in California doing something, and she said, you're not on the bestseller list. I said, what are you talking about? I was #1 on the bestseller list last week. I said, even my voice changed when I said, what do you mean I'm not on the bestseller list? She said, you're not on the bestseller list, I'm sorry. She said, your book is on the bestseller list. Big distinction there, isn't it? Between believing that this is me and recognizing that you can let go a little bit of that. Listen to verse 66 of the Tao. Why is the sea king of 100 streams? Because it lies below them. Humility gives it its power.
So we're back. And that was Dr. Wayne Dyer, and that was from his talk on living the wisdom of the Tao, about the Tao Te Ching. And I think I picked that clip because I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff he talks about you can relate to. But that's something that people can meditate on. And if you're interested in what he does, all of his books right now all of his books through Hay House are $1.99 an ebook. So you can go onto Amazon or Barnes & Noble and you can get most of his great books. His book Inspiration, which helped me to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, that one is $1.99. So I'm like I have these books in hardcover, but I'm still going to go buy them up in ebook in case I ever want to read them.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, even though his books are really amazing and you should definitely read them, watching his seminars, and you can watch a lot of his seminars on YouTube. Just search Dr. Wayne Dyer. Or you could get the audiobooks. You can even buy them on DVD. Watching his seminars, seeing him on the stage, hearing his voice, I think it just makes a big difference. And you have to go back. I've had to go back and listen to, I have his audiobooks, go back and listen to them multiple times in the car on the way to work, because you catch something you didn't notice before, and you learn a little bit more, and it resonates differently with you, and yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so it's really sad that the world lost a really great soul, but this is our way of paying homage to him, and hopefully by doing this, maybe somebody else will discover him and then find some help with something in their life as well.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So, that's the end of the podcast.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this month. We love having you guys out there.
Absolutely. Make sure you send us some listener mail, too.
Yes. How would people contact you if they would like to?
If you want to contact me, my email is exaulta@hotmail.com. I'm also on Twitter under at the Lindsay Mead. I'm on Facebook. I also have a daily vlog on YouTube. You can just search youtube.com/Lindsay Mead Daily Vlog. And that's Lindsay with an A, for the record.
Yes.
And you can see my videos posted every single day, and I'm definitely online if you ever want to get a hold of me, for sure.
Definitely so.
What about you?
You can email me at the email for the podcast, which is toobadpaganspodcast@gmail.com. I check that several times a day, so, if you have listener mail, send it there. Feel free and leave a comment on our blog as well, and I check that all the time. And our blog is at toobadpagans.blogspot.com. There you can find a little links on the side of the page. There's like Lindsay's links and Nicholas's links, and that'll give you all of our social media links, and you can find links to my vlog there. If you want to find my vlog on YouTube, just search for Just Elevator Music. That is the channel name. It doesn't come up. You have to search for channels, I think, and not just YouTube as a whole to find me, because I'm not quite the presence that Lindsay is.
Oh, gosh. You know what everybody should do, though? They should go onto iTunes and rate us.
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome.
It would be.
I think the last time I checked, we had 2 ratings,
Mm-hmm.
and one was really good, which is awesome, and then the other one was from someone complaining that we had missed a month way early on,
Mm-hmm.
like way back when.
Well, it was when I had put an introduction video out there, or audio clip out there saying, "Hey, we're going to start this."
Yeah.
And then, like, 2 weeks later, she's like, where's the podcast? I'm waiting for the podcast. I'm like, it's been 2 weeks.
She could be listening now.
She could be.
Maybe don't get too snarky.
I'm not. I'm just like...
But it's just 1 star. It's the star that bugs me more than anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but we're not that bad.
No.
So, if you guys like us, we would really appreciate you heading over to iTunes and giving us a rating.
Yeah.
Maybe a little review on why you like us.
Yeah.
So that other people can find us too.
Yay. That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We're excited about what's to come with Mabon, and we will hopefully have a podcast for you early next month or later this month. Mm-hmm. One of the two, whichever one comes first. We'd like to do 2 this month, but it kind of depends. Yeah. So we're definitely going to have an extra one either this month or next month. Yes. To kind of make up for missing that last month.
Yes.
But with all the holidays coming up, it should be pretty easy. So.
Yeah, hopefully so. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Blessed be.
Love and light.